Hi, welcome back. We're back at the house. It's a different day, but we're getting ready to start putting the shiplap siding onto the house. First, we're going to show you how to remove the shiplap that needs to be removed because it's rotten, has water damage in some areas, and some of the boards are just deteriorating. We're going to show you first how to remove the shiplap. And then second, we're going to show you how to install the shiplap. And then third, we'll show you the final product. First step that we're going to do on removing the siding is we're going to loosen up these corner boards that they have. They're on here kind of for two reasons. One is for a decorative trim to cover up the end pieces of the shiplap on both sides. It's also on here to help keep water from running on the inside down the corner of the wall. So we're going to use a cat claw pry bar. These are great, handy, they go in easy, doesn't take up a lot of room. We're also going to use the hammer if we need to. This wood has been on this shed for a while, so it's probably going to pry out pretty easy. We don't need to take it all the way off. We just need to remove or pull it away from the wall far enough so that we can gain access to this board and also to this board. So we're just going to stick it in using the cat claw portion of it. Instead of the pry bar, we're going to use the cat claw. Yep, it's prying up pretty easy. You start at the bottom and loosen it, and then you work your way up. Just kind of wiggle it a little bit. You don't have to yank hard. All you're trying to do is just create a little bit of movement so you can gain access. And that's about as high as we need to go. So we're going to be removing the bottom board of shiplap. When you're removing shiplap siding, you want to start at the bottom on removing it. So you start at the bottom board and then you work your way up for however high you're going to go on removing it. The way that shiplap fits together is sort of like a tongue and groove, where the top board, the back side of it, has a 90-degree cutout that goes about maybe a ½ inch up on the bottom of the board on the inside, and the board below it fits in and snaps into that 90-degree space. So removing it, you want to pry from the bottom. This board's fairly rotten, so it's going to come off relatively easy. And you want to work your way down, trying to dislodge the nails from the stud, so you can see that there's a lot of movement here. So it's going to come off relatively easy. The bottom boards are always the hardest. What I like to do is go in on the board above the one you're moving and loosen that up. That way it gives you the ability to drop the board below it. So we're going to just give this a little tug. We're not trying to remove the board above it, this one. We're not trying to remove this one, we're just removing this board. So you don't need to put too much, you just want to loosen the nails. It gets damaged, as you can see, it's just falling apart. It's been on this shed for probably 20 or 30 years, so all the water damage is water. It rains, it hits, and it kicks back onto the board. So it's just rotting everything away. So we're just going to work our way down on loosening the top board above it so that we can remove the bottom board. So you work your pry bar in and you push down while pulling up. The bottom piece starts to come right off. There's no real correct science in doing this. It's a whole lot of wiggling and seeing how it releases. But now that we got it started, at this point you can put some pressure on the back side of the loose area that I'm doing with my hand. Be careful not to get your fingers pinched. And then you put the pry bar in the middle of the two boards, like I'm doing here. And you just want to pull up and push down on the board that you're removing. Give a little tug on it, and it just slips right out. You just work your way down. Take your time doing it. If you're not comfortable, or if this is your first time, and figure out what's the easiest way for you to do it. You can flip it over, the pry bar over, to get a better angle if you need to. And this is where I like to take a 5-in-1 and just stick it in here. Ooh, that's getting a little tight. And what this does is it keeps the board from snapping back in. So you just create like a little wedge or bracer piece, spacer piece. And it keeps the board out so you can move down without having it snap back in or pinch your fingers down the way. And you can just walk your way down. Alright, it's starting to get a little tight. So we go back to the bottom. There we go. And that's how you remove shiplap.